Hello guys, welcome to the another episode of the Unboxing Content Podcast. Today we have Shrutika Joshi at our show. She is a very knowledgeable person in the field of content writing, copywriting, content creation, and in content strategy also. If you are in content writing or in content creation field, then you must listen to this podcast because Shrutika shared some great tips which she follows for writing amazing content. That includes research, outlining, writing, and editing, and she covered everything. She also shared her views on the future of content creation. Well, in simple words, it's an episode for content writers and content creators. I will share Shrutika's social media handles in the description. Make sure you check them out. For now, guys, do listen to this episode, Shrutika Joshi at the UCP. Hi, Shrutika. Welcome to the Unboxing Content Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am also good. So, so when did you started content writing?
Well, I started about 1 year, 9 months back, to be
Okay.
exact, and it all started as a side gig. It was when I came back to my hometown after completing around 1 year, 3 months in a 9 to 5 job as a HR recruiter, and I was searching for a job here. And suddenly, a friend of mine, he came out of blue and asked me to write a blog for his website. And there it was. I started writing blogs for him. He paid me upward amount for it, and that's how it all began.
Yeah, that's amazing. So he's your starter kit.
Yeah, it was quite easy, just with writing blogs, and then switch to copywriting as well. So it was quite simple. It started as a side gig, and it's been amazing. And seriously, it's a very good thing. I made a career in it, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, you are doing very good with it. I think many people are inspiring from you, including me.
So I well, that's my goal to, if I can help people, then it's brilliant. I'm going on the right path.
Yeah, that's great. What type of content do you write?
Okay, so well, from blogs and articles to website copy, social media copy, everything that covers the copywriting thing, like newsletters, emailers, white paper, and um, scripts, video scripts, then podcast scripts also sometimes, and anything that comes into copywriting and content, news articles as well sometimes that comes under journalism. And these type of content I usually cover. And besides this, I'm a content strategist too. So I do devise strategies from time to time, that are monthly strategies, weekly strategies.
That's great. So you cover the 360 perspective of content.
Kind of.
Do you write in any particular niche or cover all the niche?
Well, yes, I do like to write about human resource, and recently I did work with Tata Group on their HR playbook, and it's something that I like, because I have worked with as a HR recruiter. I've worked in the human resource department, and I do have some very good knowledge about human resources. So I love writing about HR and management and marketing as well. I have an eye on marketing. I love marketing.
That's great. So you have the public skill too.
Yeah.
Okay, so Shrutika, when you started content writing with help of that person, help of your friend,
Mm-hmm.
what was the perspective about content at that time?
At that time, I didn't know. I didn't knew about this industry. Um, Honestly, I didn't knew that content. It's such a wide industry. It's such a wide thing. It covers like everything. I didn't knew about it. It was for me. It was just a blog post. Honestly, it was just a side gig, a means of earning of something, and just a side gig. But as I got deeper into it, the more I write, the more I understand the worth of content, the what how it is contributing to contributing, a lot to this world. So at that time it was just a blog post, but now it is like everything. I find content in everything, even the movies I watch, uh, the ads everything is for me is content. It's like the world, my world is surrounded with it now.
Yeah. So content actually is from outside, it looks like as simple as reading a blog post.
Yeah,
But when you dig
exactly.
into the sea of the content,
Content universe right here.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm sure that your perspective changed a lot from that time to now. Can you explain?
Yeah, of course. Well, as I said, for me, it's from far. If you see, it's just a particle, and then when you get into it, it's a content universe, like I said. And content for me is now everything, from a very simple music lyrics or an advertisement on the commercial on the TV to a simple meme. Everything is content. So for me, it has changed a lot. My perspective has changed about how I view each and every piece of writing. Now I see it with a different perspective. I see how much effort someone has put into writing that piece of content. I see how it has been the flow of content. I look at the flow of content. I look at it a very different perspective now. First, it was just for reading, but now it's the technicalities of the writing.
Yeah, now like you are doing postmortem of any content which you get.
Right. Exactly.
So when you write any content for any project, so
Hmm.
what's your process? How you write? How you come up with good quality content?
It's just a very simple four-step process. First I go into research. I research a lot about that topic. I read around 15 to 20 blogs, as much as I can, absorb. Then I prepare an outline as to how the structure will be, how the flow will be, how the format will be, everything. I prepare an outline for it, and after which I start writing. And while writing, this is the third process. That's the first draft. I prepare a first draft, and in it, I just pour out all the things that I have absorbed. I have Whatever I have absorbed from the research, I pour it out. I don't think about if this is relevant or if this is not relevant, or I just pour it out. The fourth process is editing. I and edit. I edit it till I am satisfied. I just sit down, I just take out the irrelevant, like you're removing weed from a garden. It's like just like that. That's it.
So you mentioned that you first do a lot of research for your project. So can you explain how you do research? How do you find the scope of content and
Yeah.
what's the process of research?
Okay. Okay. So the source of my research is primary source is Google. I Google it. I take out various topics from it. Then I have my personal favorite is Pinterest. I love using it. I go and I search. You can get many blogs on Pinterest when you're searching for a particular topic. I have lots of pins on that app. So I search on Pinterest and I pin them. I read them and I pin them for later use also, because there are some very good treasures. And apart from these two, yeah, I do search on social media sometimes if I want to get into some latest trends, what's going on in this industry, or what's uh, relevant about it. So I do search it on social media, on Twitter, what's happening. And that's it. These are my primary sources. The thing is, you have to know how much you have to research, because this is something that can take a lot of time. If you are sitting there and reading a blog, and then you keep on reading, you keep on reading, you just get stuck in a process, and then you start procrastinating. The procrastination, it steps in. You start to procrastinate, and then you are just delaying the work. So you must know when you have to stop. Then you must set a barrier. I set a time limit of my research around this much time I have to cover these things, and this much time I have to spend on Google, this much time I have to spend on Pinterest, and this is the amount of time I'm spending on other researches like researching on social media platforms. So I'll set a time limit for my research, and that's it.
Do you pinpoint some of your ideas, like when you read any article, you find it worthy and you pinned it in your Pinterest or bookmarked it? Do
Mm-hmm.
you also make note of it in any note making application like Evernote or Google Keep for easy
Okay.
accessible?
Okay, I got it. Well, I think you are talking about Swipe File Vault, something where you keep all your ideas stored in. I
Yeah,
do not maintain it. I don't maintain it because for me, it's like you are keeping all your treasure in a box. You're locking it up with lots of chain and you're dropping it deep down into the sea because that's something you will never look at. For me, I'll never look at it again. When I have a file that's name when where I have I've dumped all my ideas, I'll never go and look at it because that's my habit. That works. That's something that doesn't work for me. So what I do is I use so these features that apps provide in Instagram. I go and save the post, whichever post I do not take screenshots. I save it because that's something that's a feature that app provides me, and I use it because it's very accessible to me. Okay,
yeah,
so whatever post I like, I just tap the save button and it's all there. Then on Pinterest, I pin it. I do not take screenshots, I do not keep it somewhere, I pin it. Then uh, all the social media platform, on LinkedIn also, I save a post if I see one that's something that's very inspiring, or I like it. If I like it, I save it. So that's it. In the Google in our browser, I mark it as I bookmark it, or I mark it as my favorite page. So I use these apps instead of putting everything into one swipe file vault. I use these apps because they are much more accessible to me. I can't go back into a folder and search for screenshots. That's how it works for me. It works differently for everyone. People do maintain. I'm not against it, but this works for me.
yeah. It works for me too. I started keeping one folder containing screenshots of lot of sources, but it was like getting messed up at the last. So I'm
Yeah,
using this method now.
no, that's great.
Okay, so we discussed about the content creation and the research part. Okay,
Mhm,
when you discuss the project with any client,
mhm.
then what you do to understand the project exactly, like what they want to say and what you have to come up with.
So whenever you are talking to a prospect, never talk on messages. Always get on a call because that is the communication path. Okay. Now, second thing, what I do is call. I always record the call because whenever you are taking a discovery call, always you tend to forget things after. So I do record it because for future reference. Then how I gather the scope of content, I usually prepare a questionnaire for them after which I send them after the discovery call. And that questionnaire contains, if it is a website copy, I prepare a questionnaire for them. What are the services, what you want, what are you expecting, and everything. I have a questionnaire prepared with me. I send it out to them, and they fill it after the discovery call. Now, during the discovery call, I ask them about the audience, what they think about it, okay, and what are the business, what is their business all about. Like if they want to explain it to a person who is a normal person who does not know any technicalities, so how will they explain it? So I try to get the most general information from them as possible, and that's it. That's how I gather what they think about their business, and then all the resources, I mean all their links. I go through all their links, their social media platforms, and then I send them a questionnaire as well. So there's a lot of information now with me, and let's go.
Okay, actually, it's important to be on the same phase if you are working with any client.
Exactly.
Okay, so since you deal with all type of content, do you
Hmm.
outsource some of your work?
Well, for me, it's more like working together than outsourcing. I do outsource sometimes because it's when I'm extremely cautious when it comes to writing because my client does not know that I have given it to someone. So it should be something written by me. So if at all I have a lot of work with me, then I have one or two writers with me whom I trust the most, and I do give it to them. They write it, and then it's my turn to edit and edit. I edit it until it feels like, yes, this is something I have written. I do it like that because sometimes you are overburdened, and instead of delivering a very bad quality of piece, it's better to give it to someone and then edit it so that you deliver a good thing. And of course, it also opens many doors of creativity because what somebody else has written, it might be more creative or it might be more good than what I have written. Okay,
Yeah,
so
they may give another dimension of our
right,
thinking.
exactly. But it's more like working together than outsourcing. I do not believe in hiring people or internships. Internships exploit.
Yeah. Okay. So that's great. That's another perspective I got today about working together instead of outsourcing the work.
Right.
So let's suppose you join a company as a content head, or you build your own company and you are the content head there, and you have
Mm-hmm.
a team of writers, including the two, three writers which you trust the most,
Mm-hmm.
and you have some designers, you have some video editors, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Then in that case, how will you manage to produce good quality content?
Okay, first, I will not join any company. I'm freelancing. Okay, and second, if at all I am a content head, then I would like to follow a bottom-up approach. That is, I'll create a hierarchy. Okay, people
Hmm.
who write content, and then people who will edit it, and then people who will proofread it. So I'll create a hierarchy in the organization, and it will be a bottom-up approach because I do not want to block anyone's creativity. Okay. And the people will write it. Those people in the hierarchy, they will be assigned their jobs. They'll write it. The people, there will be people who will edit it. Then, so this will go. The content will, it will be filtered. It will go with some filters, but with strict warnings that creativity must not be blocked. So if
Yeah,
I'm going to open my own organization and I'm going to, manage these people, manage people under me, then I'll make sure that the creativity isn't blocked. Okay, ideas are not blocked, and from time to time, I'll provide them with training workshops. We'll have fun activities, so uh, that's directed towards content. So that's how I'll manage them. I'll create a hierarchy. A bottom up approach will be the best, and that's it.
that's great. That's really great. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we have discussed about the writing perspective of content. So let's now come to the futuristic perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Based on your current thinking and on your previous perspective about content,
Okay.
what do you think will be the future of content in coming years, in coming 5 to 10 years?
Okay. So see, future is quite unpredictable. Okay. 20 years back, you didn't know what is going that we will be reading infographics and we'll be, watching stories today. Okay. So let's
Hmm.
go back to history. Do you know what was, the first piece published content? See, it was,
No, yet not yet.
yeah, it was around in 4200 BC, 4200 BC, when a caveman he drew some drawings in a cave with some charcoal and with some chalk. He drew some paintings, and later it got translated into 6 ways how a spear can protect you from a wild boar. Okay, so it's
Okay.
kind of a blog. So that was published content ever. That was the origin of content marketing, to be exact. And back then, he didn't knew that something I'm drawing it will be something this big today. So we can't speculate, we can't predict anything. But yes, I do know that content evolves each day, every day, every second. Now, when we are talking about this, someone else in some corner of the world is thinking of creating something new, a new way of approaching people, a new way of communicating. So content is basically anything that communicates, right? So be it pictures, be it memes, be it songs, be it a blog post, be it a book, anything. It evolves every day. So I can't predict what it will be in the future, but yes, videos are very popular. Short-lived content is very popular nowadays, and it will evolve. Like stories, Instagram reels. These are stories, especially Snapchat. These are short-lived content, and short-form content is also something which is very popular. So these things are going to evolve more in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think the attention span of millennials is going to shorten more than now?
Well, it can go because as we see that people are adopting as generations evolve, their thinking process also involves, and as people are evolving, they tend to adopt many new approaches, and that's how I think yes, the attention span can get short because due to the busy lives especially, and that's the main reason why content is also evolving. See, transformation is a very slow process, right? So if the content is evolving, then people are evolving with it too, so it goes parallel, I guess. I think so. Yeah, attention span can decrease because people are already, they are already focusing on short-lived content like reels, sorry, like stories and Snapchat. So, of course, it can decrease. I think so. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like it will decrease soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming from a general perspective, general
Mhm.
thought which comes in my mind mostly,
Yeah. Mhm.
like if we look at the market, so there are people who are not in corporates,
Mhm.
like people who are from other industry who don't know about content writing.
Mhm.
So if they ask you what you do, then how you will explain like you are a content writer?
Okay. So it's like explaining to your relatives that you're not working from home, but you're freelancing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, well, when I explain, especially my relatives, to be honest, I recently did this. So when I explained it to them, I tell them the newspaper you read in the morning, it is content. It is something written by content writers like us. The news you see, the movies you see, whatever you see on the TV, it is content. It is written by some writer somewhere. The books you read, it is content. The magazines you read, it is content. Content is everywhere, and whatever anything that that connects you with the outside world is through content. So whatever is whenever you are getting a message from the outside world in the form of news, in the form of movies, in the form of anything that is in the form of social media posts, in the form of memes, and in the form of any updates and notifications, emails, whatever. It is content, and that content is written by writers like us. That content writers,
Yeah,
copywriters like us.
yeah, that's a powerful introduction. I will use it from now.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so it was great.
Hmm.
So what are the content which you consume daily basis?
Okay. I'm a big fan of social media. So yes, I do go through Instagram, and I like short-lived content and I like short-form content. I don't usually go for long-form content, but yes, when it is quite interesting, then I do, I just go for it. I just listen to it. So sources for me are social media platforms at first, then Pinterest. I like it. I like it very much. And after that, yeah, I do read books because whatever may be the case, I mean, if the books are being converted into audiobooks also, then also I prefer a hardcover book with me because it gives me that feeling. It's, I don't know, it gives me a feeling that yes, I'm reading something, I'm grasping something, I'm absorbing something. So I like reading books a lot. I like reading fictional books, and I do read non-fiction as well sometimes. But I'm more into fiction, kind of fantasy, adventure type of girl. And besides that, if we are talking about current trends or news, then I have a TV in my house that that sounds so so much that you can just sit here in my room and listen to what that person in the news is saying. So that's how I get my current trends. I latest news reports from the TV. That's it. That's how I. And yes, I do watch YouTube videos. I like it. I do listen to podcasts. So see, consuming content is something you can, you have to absorb it from wherever you get. And I do like movies and TV series as well, because I think they are very important. They are important part of gaining knowledge. Many series and many movies are very knowledgeable, so I like watching them as well.
Yeah, definitely. So it was nice talking to you with Shrutika about content.